something I remember, like specifically, is the letter about that Albert Fish, this serial killer, wrote. Do you know who that is, Woody?
Mm-mm.
So Albert Fish was one of the most notorious, horrible, child-murdering serial killer psychopaths ever. And this dude would capture, kill, cook, and eat little children. And he has a letter out there on the internet, and it is a letter that he wrote to the mother and father of a little girl, of two little boys. Yeah, that there were two. There was one. Because he said the younger one had more tender flesh or some creepy shit.
Oh, I see where this is going now.
It was just a whole letter, and it was written in a way. It wasn't written like, I killed your baby and then I ate him up good. I fixed him. I poured him in a pot. It was like articulate. It was like, it was a Thursday afternoon. I decided to go out. After picking up the paper, I saw a nice young boy playing in the street. I decided to invite him back home. He was curious and very cute. Once we got in the house, I told him, like, here, Kyle, you can jump in with whatever you know, but it was, suffice to say, incredibly
it's real telling of the times that this happened in. The way that Albert procured the child is he went to this lady's house and was like, hey, see, you've got a small child out here on the walk. I have a small grandson the same age having a birthday party today. How about he comes with me and we go over to the party? And she's like, sure, take him. Yeah, all right. Bring him back before, I don't know, dark, whenever that happens. And so Albert is away with the child, and like days pass, and he consumes the child, and then he writes her this letter, and it's delivered to her. She can't read, luckily. Unfortunately, her other son can, and he reads it out loud to her. And it's basically a part of it is a bit of a cookbook. Yes.
How long is it?
All right. It's like two paragraphs.
Two. The part about the PPs and the, oh, man.
All right. Dear Mrs. Budd, in 1894, a friend of mine shipped as a deckhand on the steamer Tacoma, Captain John Davis. They sailed from San Francisco to Hong Kong, China. On arriving there, he and two others went ashore and got drunk. When they returned, the boat was gone. At that time, there was a famine in China. Meat of any kind was from $1 to $3 a pound. So great was the suffering among the very poor that all children under 12 were sold for food in order to keep others from starving. A boy or girl under 14 was not safe in the street. You could go to just about any shop and ask for a steak, chops, or stew meat. Part of the naked body of a boy or girl would be brought out and just what you wanted cut from it. A boy or girl's behind, which is the sweetest part of the body and sold as a veal cutlet, brought the highest price. John said that there so long he acquired a taste for human flesh. On his return to New York, he stole two boys, one 7 and one 11, took them to his home, stripped them, naked, tied them in the closet, then burned everything they had on. Several times every day and night he spanked them, tortured them to make their meat good and tender. First he killed the 11-year-old boy because he had the fattest ass and, of course, the most meat on it. Every part of his body was cooked and eaten except the head, bones, and guts. He was roasted in the oven, all of his ass, boiled, broiled, fried, and stewed. The little boy was next, went the same way. At that time, I was living at 409 East 100th Street, right side. He told me how good little human flesh was when I made up my mind to taste it. On Sunday, June the 3rd, 1928, I called you at 406 West 15th Street, bought you a pot cheese, strawberries. We had lunch. Grace sat in my lap and kissed me. I made up my mind to eat her. On the pretense of taking her to a party, you said yes, she could go. I took her to an empty house in Westchester I'd already picked out. When I got there, I told her to remain outside. She picked wildflowers. I went upstairs and stripped all my clothes off. I knew if I did not get her blood on, I did not want her blood to get on them. When all was ready, I went to the window and called her. Then I hid in the closet until she was in the room. When she saw me all naked, she began to cry and tried to run down the stairs. I grabbed her and she said she would tell her mama. First, I stripped her naked. How she did kick, bite, and scratch. I choked her to death and then cut her into small pieces so I could take my meat to my rooms, cook it, and eat it. How sweet and tender her little ass was roasted in the oven. It took me 9 days to eat her entire body. I did not fuck her, though. I could have, had I wished. She died a virgin. That's the end of the letter.
Wow.
That is more evil than the most fucked up horror movie writer in the world has to read something like that and be like, oh man,
this guy's good.
Like this guy's the winner of this contest. Like that is so fucked up.
Now I got a little. At first, I thought the girl's parents were the same as the boy's parents, but they were different.
Yeah.
It was different. He was
Yeah.
telling about how he first tasted human flesh in the late 1800s and how he decided he loved it so much he just had to do it again.
Christ. It must taste amazing, eh? Maybe that's it. Maybe this guy's stone cold sane, but human flesh is just delicious. I had some lamb chops a couple days ago. I'd never had them before. I just hadn't. They were so good. I think I prefer it to beef now. Maybe it's like that. Maybe he tasted human child ass and he was like, oh, how can I go back to pork?
I'm glad this guy got the electric chair.
That
must have been this like issues like this are when I have to rethink about the death penalty, because like I don't like the death penalty because stuff can go wrong. But you read about stuff like this and a dude who wrote a letter like that, and like if you ask him, like, Mr. Fish, did you write this letter? He's like, oh yes, I think it was my best work, other than her, upper thigh cutlet, souffle or whatever the fuck he
Aside
was
from my
making.
recipes, this is as good as I do.
Didn't Albert Fish, wasn't he also inserting all those push pins into his like groin area? And when I say groin, like sometimes on TV they'll say groin and they mean genitals. I mean his entire groin area. He's like pushing push pins in, and they're like all embedded in his groin area
Right
in an
here.
X-ray.
Yeah, it was about that time that Fish began to indulge in self-harm. He would embed needles into his groin and abdomen. After his arrest, X-rays revealed that Fish had at least 29 needles lodged in his pelvic region. He also hit himself repeatedly with a nail-studded paddle and inserted wool doused with lighter fluid into his anus and set it alight.
What?
I should have... I mean,
you
this
think
is not a
Batman's
healthy
afraid
man.
of the electric chair?
Yeah.
He's like, you're not even going to stuff lighter kerosene soaked wool up my ass?
Do you think that's what it was like? They're like, Mr. Fish, we sentence you to death. Oh, are you going to stuff me full of steel wool and light me on fire? Jesus Christ, no. No, what are you talking about? No, we're going to electrocute. What the fuck? Jesus. Like I said, Judge is sitting there with his fucking hat all flustered. Oh, his wig. I guess
When
we probably
was
should.
this?
Fuck.
So this
well,
was
I don't want to say what we were planning now.
Early
That doesn't
1900s.
seem very intense. We definitely weren't just going to electrocute you to death. Right, guys? That wasn't the plan. We were going to put needles in your genitals until you die. Two steps ahead, Judge, Your Honor.
My only issue with the death penalty is that sometimes they mess it up. And that I don't like.
Yeah. That's the biggest.
Oh, and then a lot of people say that it's more expensive, which I believe. Like no one seems to say no, it's not. But I do feel like we could make it. I mean, can we streamline this?
Makes it more expensive is bullshit. That's the problem. It's not that the death penalty is inherently flawed. The idea of killing someone as a punishment or as like the final solution to their ruined self-being isn't necessarily a bad thing or a problem. I think it's how we as imperfect beings implement that system. It's the innocent people who get killed.
Mm-hmm.
It's the guilty people who don't get a quick death. They're they asphyxiate or they're tortured, or with the lethal injection, I think sometimes they're lying there like completely unable to scream but in tons of pain. Like we really don't know what's going on.
The way they do it in westerns, the old movies, that seems cost effective. Like I bet it's cheaper to do it that way than it is to keep them in cells.
It is because there's no litigation to deal with.
They try. They try. Those trials go on sometimes for a week.
Yeah.
Sometimes hours at a time, before everyone involved is too drunk. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what Hang 'em High is all about. Clint Eastwood is falsely hung at the beginning of the movie, and then he spends the rest of the movie, he gets deputized, and then he goes and gets all the men who falsely hung him.
That sounds like a good
how do they
movie. I'll
survive his
check that
hanging?
out.
I don't remember if someone rescued him or whatever, but the whole
out.
movie he's got this awful scar from where the rope was. He did survive it somehow or another. I think like the limb breaks or he like wiggles out or someone saves him. I don't recall.
The people that hung him or hanged him, I think hanged is actually right.
Hanged,
The people that hanged him, were they incompetent or bad?
They were on the lookout for someone who had actually like stolen some cattle, and they came upon Clint Eastwood out in the wilderness and said, this must be the guy. And then like there's two ways of hanging someone. Like every time you see them in the town when they're up on that platform with the trap door, like there's a precise amount of rope that they use based on your weight to calculate breaking your neck without tearing your head off. And a lot of times what they'll do instead, you see, is people just get strangled, which is a long, excruciating death. And that's when you just put the rope around someone's neck and then just suspend them slowly so that you don't get that quick snap of the neck. and then they can last, like, depending on how strong you are, how thick your neck is,